Hello and welcome back to the Hill and Valley podcast. I'm Joel. I'm here with Rick and Brian, and today we're going to be talking about what it means to be a content creator and the state of video today.
I wanted to start this off by asking, what's your main form of content consumption? Like, how do you ingest content?
Unfortunately, mine is TikTok right now. It used to be YouTube and I guess like mostly like the streaming services like Netflix and all that like I would watch, but now like I think it's my attention span. Just TikTok is like so like the videos are so short, or even if they're longer, just like being able to swipe like that is just like for me like I can spend like a long time on TikTok.
Pretty
and
much
just kinda-
hours,
so
yeah.
that's how I
Pretty
do
much
it
hours.
for now, but.
Dude, I could never get into TikTok, and I had to, I started like editing some videos for a friend on the side, just like occasionally, and he's making TikToks, or I'm making TikToks for him, and so I had to get the app so I could find like trending audios and stuff for him to use, and it still just drives me crazy that I open the app and the very first thing that happens is watching content that I didn't ask for, and I can't.
You hit the YouTube shorts though, don't you? Or not YouTube shorts, Instagram Reels. You hit the Instagram Reels sometimes.
Well, yeah. What I love about my usage of Instagram right now is that I almost never need to actually just like scroll. I just have like one friend who spends way too much time on it, and so every day I like wake up to 15 reels that I know I'm gonna like DM'd to me. So I just like watch the reels that people send me.
You have like a curator
exactly.
Almost. You get your content perfectly curated
it's
for
perfect.
you.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the doom scroll, and thankfully don't have to do it.
I feel like I doom scroll like once every 2 weeks, where I'll go on a really bad facet of just like scrolling for like 3 hours. But I really try not to do TikTok like that. I don't do Instagram Reels because they scare me. But most of my stuff comes from YouTube, I think. I watch a lot of I like longer form, which I kind of want to talk about today, like long form versus short form. But yeah, most of it is a long form video that I like have up for multiple hours rather than scrolling.
Yeah, YouTube is for sure the most used platform for me. I probably watch YouTube every single day. Sometimes it's just like a couple of videos. Sometimes I'll watch like 2 or 3 hour-long podcasts in a row, like while doing something else. But yeah, what I like about YouTube is that there's literally everything on there. Like there are some produced shows that are somewhat similar to something you might find on Netflix or Hulu. That's just like free. And then there's also like individuals who have like no experience making videos, and it's not professional at all, but like that's the danger of YouTube, is that sometimes I'll find someone who's just like showing me how they lived out of their car for 3 years, or how they take driftwood and turn it into tables and sell them for thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah, that's
Whenever
crazy.
I notice I'm in one of those rabbit holes, I try to get out as soon as possible. But there's a lot of like channels I've been following for a long time that, one, it's just cool to see like their growth, but it's nice that I can like log onto YouTube basically every day and know that there will be something that I know I'm gonna like, whether it's just like kind of traditional content creators, or like I've gotten really into like stand-up comedy recently, and so YouTube is a great platform for that, and podcasts as well.
I feel like recently it's kind of switched from being that people on YouTube care less about what the actual content that you're making, as long as you have like a good personality and they follow that personality. It's more like personality based and not as much what you're doing. So I see a lot of that now where it's like, oh yeah, I've been following this creator for 15 years and like that's all I watch now is this person because I know who they are. I know I like their comedy and stuff like that. Whereas if you're watching like cable TV, like you're not getting that.
Yeah, and I think I'm speaking for other people here, but I'm assuming back in the day when cable was the only real media outlet for video, I'm sure it was similar with like talk show hosts and whatever.
Yeah,
like
that's
people
true.
would come on the show and you have no idea who it is, but you love Johnny Carson or like Jimmy Fallon or any of those TV like talk show hosts. And I think same thing with like the news. People find a news network they like because they like the hosts of the show and they know they're gonna like what they have to say. So I guess it's somewhat similar, but usually with those shows you know what to expect, whereas nowadays you can, like you were saying, you follow someone for several years, and maybe they started out doing prank videos and now they're Mr. Beast
Yeah.
or like something like that, where they're doing anything, and you just follow them for the personality.
Rick,
Yeah.
I'm curious, do you ever you ever find yourself on a YouTube rabbit hole?
So I used to, but now it's actually just on TikTok, because TikTok actually has, like, if I find a creator on TikTok, like, I'll go through some of their videos, or like if I see a series, like some people post like actually a series of like videos that would normally be on YouTube, but they just post them on TikTok. So I would watch them on there. I guess before TikTok, I would do that. Like I'd go down a rabbit hole and like find a bunch of videos and watch them. But now it's mostly TikTok. And then like if I'm on YouTube, I'm watching probably one, maybe two videos at a time. And now I'm not going through multiple videos. And honestly, right now, the biggest thing I use YouTube for is just tutorials. Like if I need to fix my car or something, that's like what I mostly use YouTube for. I'll just look up something quick. But if I want to just like, I guess, be entertained, I'll just go on TikTok for the most part. And like,
That's right.
I'm still subscribed to people, and like I still watch some of their videos once in a while, but I'm not as interested now, I guess. And I'm just mostly on TikTok and stuff like that. But
Sometimes clicking on a YouTube video feels like a commitment. You know what I mean?
and that's how I feel with movies though too.
Yes.
But it's funny because I would rather, like right now, I'd rather watch a movie, a TV show, or go on TikTok than watch YouTube. And I don't know why, because it used to be I'd rather watch YouTube than a movie. But now I would either watch like something that's really long or just go on TikTok to something that's really short.
I almost feel the opposite. You're saying with like YouTube feels like a commitment, whereas to me it definitely doesn't. Where like I'll click on a video and it says it's an hour long, and then I'll spend 30 seconds deciding if I'm interested in it. I'll like watch the first like 10 seconds, skip through a little bit, like is this something I want to watch? And then sometimes it is, and I'll go through and watch the whole thing. Other times I'll watch 15 minutes of it and be like, nah, I'm not really interested in this. But whereas with a movie, I know that it's designed to be watched in its entirety.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you
Okay.
start a movie, you know you're not going to get to like the climax of the movie until like an hour in.
Yeah.
So to me, that's more of a commitment, which I enjoy. Like I don't watch movies nearly as much anymore as I used to. I want to get back into watching movies, but yeah, I think it's just the time commitment where like if I'm invested in the story, I don't want to pause it and come back to it like 30 minutes later. Whereas with YouTube, I have like 15 tabs open at all times of videos that I've started and like maybe I'll come back to. And then if it's been like 2 or 3 weeks where I haven't come back to it, I'll finally close it out. But yeah for me, it's like completely non-committal, but at the same time, I can watch something that's 2 minutes long and quick and entertaining, or a tutorial. Or for me, long form content on YouTube is almost always podcasts. Like, I find myself watching a lot of like 2.5 hour podcasts sometimes.
It's crazy to think about. By the time you have like clicked on a video, decided whether or not you want to watch it, you could have gone through like 15 TikToks already.
Yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
And TikTok and Instagram Reels burn me out for that because like when I'm watching so many different things, like I think I have a pretty long attention span. And that if things are changing too quickly, I get like burnt out from it, and I'm just like, what am I actually doing? Like that's the feeling I always get when I like watch a few completely different things back to back. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just letting this app like feed me or like try and like get my attention. Whereas if I choose what to watch and then decide if I like it or not, move on to something else, I enjoy that a lot more.
I think TikTok has given me the most like, okay, I need to be done doing something. Like I'll scroll for like 3 scrolls and I'll see something, just I'm like, all right, no more. I can't watch any more of this today. That's enough.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I like about TikTok now is that they kind of like, once you like or interact with a few videos, they start showing you more of those videos. And for me, it was like, it's almost like YouTube, you know, because like, you know how they recommend videos for you. So on TikTok, like there's a lot of videos on TikTok that I actually watch now that are longer form. So like now that creators can make 1, 3, almost 10-minute videos on TikTok, I find myself literally watching like the average, I'd say almost like a 3-minute TikTok. And it's funny because like you were saying with YouTube, like I could just go on YouTube and watch that, but it's like I don't know why it feels so different on TikTok. Like I feel like I can just like, if I'm disinterested, I can like just swipe, and on YouTube it's just like a little different. But like I find myself even on TikTok watching longer form videos, and then like even like finding somebody and then going to their profile or like watching more of their videos. And I think I like TikTok because every time I like something, you know, TikTok shows me more of that, you know, and it's just recommended right there, and I don't even have to like go anywhere to keep watching it. They just keeps coming up on my feed.
Well, that's a similar thing with YouTube with like the homepage and recommended, but and sometimes I really like that. Like I've discovered a lot of great music, especially like so many bands that I listen to a lot now. I discovered just through YouTube recommended,
Yeah.
and that's been great. But more and more recently, I've been getting really annoyed at my YouTube algorithm because I'll watch like a few things and I'll go to my homepage and be like, all right, I want to watch like something different. I don't want to like keep watching soccer highlight videos or like music videos from bands with 20 subscribers. Like I want something different. I'm like, I'm subscribed to like 300 channels and like, yes, I've been subscribed to them for a long time, but like, I wish there was just like a refresh button of like, all right,
Yeah.
get rid of what you've recently been showing me and show me something new that's still like relevant to things that I've liked in the past.
Yeah.
Like I never get shown skating videos anymore. Like I really like skateboarding videos. I'm subscribed to like probably 10 skateboarding channels. I used to watch a bunch of them, and like same thing with like guitar, and I don't know, just like it'll
Yeah.
put me into these pigeonholes of like, all right, you only like soccer and like filmmaking tutorials and music production and comedy podcasts. And if you're not interested in any of those, too bad.
The worst is when you accidentally click on one America's Got Talent video
Oh, no.
for the rest of the year. For the rest of the year, that's all they want you to watch is America's Got Talent.
So funny.
Yeah.
They push that so hard because
Mm-hmm.
they know that you are going to click on more of them. Because of course I want to see what this pizza delivery guy is doing when he's flipping pizza boxes on America's Got Talent. Like, of course I'm gonna click on that.
Yeah.
But that's like, I don't know if I would want to refresh my algorithm on YouTube. It's kind of perfectly curated to my my Gen Z
Yeah,
tastes.
that's actually kind of well, like, I mean, I guess Joel and I are similar in age, whereas like I guess I agree with Brian. Like right now I like where my YouTube, like what they suggest
Yeah.
me. I actually like it. Like when I do go on YouTube, like the videos they suggest, I'm like, oh, this is actually like kind of what I would look up anyway. So
I think it's just a sign that I watch too much YouTube.
It's-
Because I get to a
Could
point
be.
where I like refresh the homepage like 6
Yeah.
times and I'm like, I've already watched like 4 other videos by all of these channels today and yesterday.
Let me
It's
ask
like,
you
I wanna
this.
do something else.
Do you have like a schedule? Like, do you know what channels are going to post videos on what days that you follow?
Only one. There's a comedy show that happens every Monday at 9
Yeah.
o'clock that I watch, and it like premieres live on YouTube, and I usually watch it at 9 o'clock, like when it comes
Yeah.
out. Otherwise, I'll catch it the next day or watch half of it then. But I think that's the only one. Like I know a few other channels that I watch. They'll say like, "Oh, new videos at 2 p.m. every Tuesday" or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't really like pay attention to them. There's only like 1 or 2 that I know I can count on coming to every week.
I'm just thinking of this right now, but right now I've kind of gotten into a schedule where like I know this video is coming out on a Monday, I know this video is coming out on Tuesday, and there's a video coming out on Thursday. So like every week I'll watch that video, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, damn, that's just cable TV. That's
Yeah.
just, I've
Yeah.
tricked
yeah, it's
myself
literally
into
100%. Yeah.
watching cable TV on YouTube,
Yeah,
which
they-
is
Yeah,
wild.
It's better.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
that's also like, there's a big kind of thing talking about like streaming services are just becoming cable TV and stuff,
Mhm.
whereas like cable TV. When's the last time you've watched cable TV?
Literally never.
Well,
Or
are
like
you,
at friends' houses. I just grew up without cable
Oh,
and never
sure.
bought it myself.
are you saying does football count as cable TV?
I guess.
Because
Yeah.
then-
Well, I guess unless you're watching it on like
On, like,
Peacock
yeah,
or like on a
Amazon
computer.
Prime.
If
So
you're
they-
watching it on a television through
And like even
Spectrum or
I'm
something.
I'm not even like a football fan, but if it's like when I'm like Joel said, if I'm at a friend's house or something, football will be on, and that's technically cable. But like
Yeah.
I haven't seen cable since I was a kid. Like we had cable growing up, so we would watch like a lot of the TV shows and stuff on there, like SpongeBob and stuff. But like as I got older, like I would say like during college or I think even during high school, like the later years of high school, like that's when I kind of stopped watching cable. That's when all the streaming services would come out, and it pretty much was obsolete.
Well, to me, I think the biggest difference, like, I guess I don't really consider if the Bills are playing and you're at a friend's house, like, all right, let's watch the Bills game. To me, that's not watching cable. In my mind, when I hear watching
Yeah.
cable, I think of like, all right, it's 6 p.m. on a weekday. Let's turn on the TV and see
Yeah.
what's on. Like that whole mentality, that's like gone. I
It's
think.
kind of like a mystery. Like, let's see what's on.
Yeah, well, that's how it used to be, like for everyone, and definitely people knew their channels and knew that like talk shows came on at a certain time, or NCIS or Law and
Yeah.
Order,
Yeah.
like shows would come on. They would air at the same time every week. But like growing up, when I remember being at friends' houses and they're like, oh yeah, let's like watch TV, or like my grandma's house or whatever, they'd be like, yeah, it's just like channel surf, see what's going on.
There's kind of a nostalgic like glory to channel surfing though nowadays, Because sometimes you scroll on there and you find like QVC and you're like, all right, let me strap in for a little bit and watch what kind of product they're selling on QVC.
I will say I used to enjoy that going to hotels because like I never
Yes.
had cable, but when I would be at a hotel, I would just turn on the TV and be like, whoa, I wonder like what is this?
Well, actually, that's funny. Now I think about it. The last time I watched cable was probably at a hotel because
Yeah.
I mean, like the funny thing is we could watch it on my phone or on my laptop, but like it's like the nostalgia of like surfing through channels that like at a hotel you're like, oh my god, like this is like we haven't done this in a while. Like let's see what's on TV, and then you see like an old movie that you haven't seen, or you see SpongeBob comes on, and you're like, oh, maybe I'll watch this,
Maybe
and
I'll
it's like
watch this.
just because like you haven't done it, and it's like nostalgic.
And I don't know what it is about that moment of like flipping through channels and then you find a movie that you've seen but that you like, and it's like 3/4 of the way through, and you're like, oh, I guess I'm just watching the last part of Batman.
Well, and it's funny because like if you're on Netflix, you have the ability to start it over and pause it.
Yeah.
But with that, it's like you're kind of like you're strapped in.
It's like a live event. You either
You're
watch it or
locked
you
in.
Yeah,
don't.
and it's so funny. You're right. Like even if it is halfway through, like in one of the movies you've seen, you're like, oh, I'll just watch the rest of it. You know,
Yeah.
that's so funny.
That's kind of the only good thing about that. Because it's like if you see it on YouTube, you're not going to like click it and start from the beginning. But if
That's the commitment
yeah,
part. But if it's like happening, it's like now or never. Might as well
you
like,
catch
jump
it in the middle and you're like, oh, I think I'm going to watch this. That's kind of strange.
Yeah.
Why is every movie 3 hours long now? How do you feel about that?
I'm fine with it. I don't think it's a problem. I think like when movies push 3.5 hours is when I kind of start like I don't know. When I watch movies, I don't know if this is a hot take, but I don't look at the time like the runtime of a movie. If I'm going to see a movie, I don't care how long it is. If it's a director that I like, if it's a concept that I like, if there's actors and actresses that I like, I'm just gonna go see the movie. I don't care how long it is. And you know, if it ends up being a really long movie, and you know I didn't like it because of that, that's fine. Or maybe I did like the whole movie, even if it was 3.5 to almost 4 hours. But for me, I don't know. I just don't care like how long movies are because if it's engaging for those 3 hours, I don't care. Like Oppenheimer, like it was, you know, it was like a really long movie, but I like didn't feel like that at all because I was so engaged into the story and what was happening that it just didn't bother me.
I don't like 3 hour movies. I don't like that movies are becoming 3 hours. But here's where I'm a hypocrite and I'll go, oh, that movie does not need to be 3 hours. Anyways, let me watch a 5-hour YouTube video about the history of this chocolate bar. I'll watch the whole thing.
Wait, you'll watch like a 4 or 5 hour. Wow.
Oh yeah, not in one sitting. Not in one
but
sitting.
you'll break it up.
Oh, but
okay.
I'll watch a good portion of it if I'm in the right scenario.
And is it because like, so why is that like on YouTube? Like you'll do that on YouTube, but if you see a movie on like Netflix and it's 3 hours, like oh I can't watch this.
I feel like it's the commitment kind of thing.
But with YouTube though, it's like Joel's saying, it's like kind of like the same thing. It's
Exactly.
Like
That's where I'm
Well,
confused.
To me, like I don't know. I don't think I've ever watched a 5-hour long video, but
I don't think I have either.
I do remember I got wrapped into some. I think it was like a 2-hour long video. Like I'm not really that into history, but it was something about just like how the U.S. like how the state lines were formed, or some like weird history videos.
I've seen those
Like
videos.
like
Interesting.
once you're in, and you're like, wow, this is actually fascinating. Like information that I never knew and like probably would never learn otherwise. But to me, the difference is I kind of mentioned it before, but like a movie, I know that it's a very constructed story arc, and like I want to experience the whole thing at one time. And I hate being like sucked out of a story. I'm not remembering the little plot details or the world building that happens. I have to like jump. I have to like get back into it again. Whereas with most long YouTube videos that I've watched, it's usually something that's more informational or something that's just like step by step of just like here's a segment about this thing, here's a segment about this thing, or it's more continuous throughout. Whereas there are some like short films or like movies, essentially movies on YouTube, where it's the same thing. That's a video where I wouldn't want to break it up into a few different watch sessions. I would sit down and watch the whole thing.
See, for me, my bread and butter is long form YouTube essays. I will, for days, just the most random specific things that you would know nothing about, and it's 6 hours long. Sign me up. I'm watching the whole thing. I gotta know.
I think I'd be smarter if I did that.
Well, there's like there's a channel called Summoning Salt, and he makes YouTube videos about like speedruns, video game speedruns. They're the most interesting thing ever.
See, and I like like I like watching those videos, but like not the essays of them, but like I like watching like those kind of like speedrun videos, but like only for like 5 minutes. And
Oh yeah, I get tired of those pretty quickly.
We
I think I'm gonna like it, and then 5 minutes later, I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh, so he's like really, really dedicated to doing this.
Oh,
Good for
yeah.
him. I'm out.
Good for him.
There's one video of the history of the world record speedrun for Rainbow Road and Mario Kart, and it's like an hour and 15 minutes. And I was at a friend's house once, and we had a big group of people, and I'm like, oh, I'm just like searching on the TV through YouTube, pulled that video up. 30 minutes in, everybody's watching it. Everybody's watching it. They're dialed in. They're paying attention. It is crazy.
But in a sense, that's almost like a documentary. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like basically, it's which is, and it's on you. You know, I don't know.
They're like
But
full-blown YouTube documentaries
that does sound pretty interesting.
Yeah, those are the types of things where I'll sit down and watch the whole thing because there's not much difference between pulling up a YouTube documentary and pulling up a Netflix documentary.
Yeah,
To me,
100%.
it doesn't really matter the platform. It's like the
exactly.
style of video that it is.
No, for sure.
But for some reason, like, it doesn't... I don't know if it's, like, the commitment to learning, like, new characters and having to watch, like, a whole story arc play out in a movie. And I like watching movies. I love watching movies. But sometimes I'm like, I don't want to commit to, like, learning a character arc. I'll watch this YouTube video that's 4 hours instead than I'm watching a 3-hour movie. But...
So we're talking about social media and YouTube, and obviously right now we're filming a YouTube video, a long-form YouTube video, being a podcast. But outside of this and like our own promotional content, 99% of what we do is create videos for businesses. And so throughout the years, we've been getting more and more requests to make TikToks and YouTube videos for our clients. And that's cool, but obviously we're all like trained in professional video, and at least I like really want to make documentaries and like high budget music videos and like bigger scale videos. So what do you guys think about that sort of transition that's happening now, where I feel like most businesses or people with money who need videos are spending it on social media and short form content versus long form professional video? And do you think professional video or business video is dying?
So I don't think professional videos are dying. I think that social media is only helping those businesses and helping those videos in a weird way. When Adam and I first started like 4 years ago, it was like making videos for social media was like, for us, unheard of. Like we'd never made videos for people with social media. It was mostly, brand story videos, testimonial videos, 1 minute overview videos. And then, a few years later, when Instagram and TikTok, started competing with each other, and, TikTok became really big during the pandemic, right after that, like I would say in the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021 is when a lot of our clients, started mentioning social media, and we're like, oh yeah, we offer those services. We don't do it very often, but we definitely, offer it. And so it started being like, I would say 25% of our work was that. And then the rest was, like the big brand story videos, again, like the longer form videos and music videos. But now, like right in 2023, I feel like it's not half and half, but what happens is like when we make a brand story video, or if we make a bigger video, people want like cut downs of it for social media to promote it. And that makes a lot of sense to me, because now like social media is, arguably like the biggest form of like outreach for people and businesses. And like I've seen, businesses explode because of social media. They go viral one time and they are literally like, their business like, triples.
Yeah, like today it is hands down the most effective form of marketing, like way bigger than TV or billboards or any other type of traditional.
And it's almost the cheapest, because you don't even have to run ads. You can, sometimes people just make YouTube videos or make TikTok and Instagram like short form videos, but if they do it consistently about their business, then everyday people are seeing like, oh wow, look at this guy, and I actually need this service. Whereas before, I feel like they're seeing ads like on the TV, sometimes on YouTube, but for the most part, like now, like I feel like it makes a lot of businesses, like it makes it more accessible for other people to see what is going on, and it makes a lot of these businesses just more successful.
Yeah, I think like you said, corporate videos or like businesses making videos to promote their business are still doing those longer form, more like highly produced videos, but cutting them down to promote on social media. And I think that makes a lot of sense, like you said. But one one aspect about this like transition that's happening that I don't know why it bothers me so much, but like, you know, the whole concept of UGC, user generated content.
Yeah.
I get it, and it's a really good marketing tool for businesses to be like, I don't know, say you make jewelry, you reach out to someone and say, hey, we'll send you a necklace, and in exchange, or for like $100, will you just make 2 or 3 TikToks talking about the necklace? And that's cool, and I have no problem with that. But something I've been noticing is that since that style of video is so successful, now like Instagram and YouTube ads are all in that style where it's like, hey, look at this awesome thing that I learned how to do with Adobe Express. And I'm like, I just, not that I care about ads in general, but it's like annoying to me that it seems like there's no more, like people don't really care about video quality anymore.
Yeah.
And so like anybody with an iPhone can make an ad that's way more successful than a production team and a $20,000 budget. Like it's like annoying to me because it's like those are the types of videos that I really like. Like I like eye candy videos where you're just looking at it and the frame is beautiful, like it's really well produced, really well lit, the sound is perfect. Like those are the things about video that I love. And so now the videos that are used specifically for marketing and business don't need that. Like sure, a Nike commercial or whatever will usually be really highly produced and have all of those things, but 90% of your businesses that are just trying to promote on the internet are just going to go the cheap route because it is just as effective, if not more. And to me, that's just annoying because that makes me feel like the need for our services making highly produced professional videos is going down. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I feel like the only like big, well-produced commercials you see now are like Nike, Apple, like cars.
Like insurance companies.
Yeah, insurance companies.
Verizon. I just saw a Verizon commercial with like 3 really famous actors yesterday that was like 10 seconds long. And I'm like, how much did you pay them for those 2 lines?
I feel like a lot of stuff you see now, like especially on TikTok, will be someone being like, look at this cool thing I have, blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, I made it and you can buy it. It's kind of like when you're in class and the professor's like, oh, you got to buy this textbook. By the way, I'm the author. And
Dude,
and you're like,
I had a professor like that in college, and it drove me crazy.
You're like, wait a minute, I gotta pay you money to buy your textbook.
I don't think that happened to me, but I know a lot of people that happened to.
Yeah,
and that's that's
no, it's kind of like you're watching this video and they're like, look at this cool thing I found, blah 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 blah. It's really cool. It's all these uses. Anyways, I made it. Buy it now. And in one click on TikTok, I hate TikTok Shop.
I've never actually
Instagram too. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I've never actually been on. I think maybe once on Instagram I've like gotten an ad like or on Instagram Shop, but like on TikTok I've actually been like I'm pretty good about that. Like I don't click on anything like on like TikTok Shop because I want to keep my TikTok a certain way.
Clean.
Like I don't want it to be filled with things I want to buy. I want it to be filled with things that are like entertaining or like people doing things, not what people are buying, because I hate those videos. And if I wanted to do that, I would just go on Instagram because that's all Instagram is just ads now.
I've bought some things off sketchy Instagram websites, but I've never bought anything off TikTok Shop because it scares me.
Yeah.
And like they always push like Temu app and stuff like that. It's like
it's just the new Wish.
Yeah,
Wish went
scam,
away. And
like
Temu
Alibaba.
arrived.
Well, the other thing that TikTok's doing now too is like you'll be watching a video and you'll think it's just like a normal TikTok video, but at the very bottom it says, "Oh, paid promotion."
Yeah, paid promotion.
And then you realize, like, even if they're just they could act like it's not even an ad. They could just be talking, and then they're in their kitchen, they're like baking something, but it's actually something that you can buy. And then I get so frustrated because I'm like, this is just an ad. This isn't like I'm not watching content that I want to watch. It's just another ad, and like I just get frustrated because it's like I'm trying to avoid those videos, especially, and like, but they're trying to make them act like they're normal videos that show up on your feed. And then I'll start watching them. I'm like, no, this is paid. This is an ad. I don't want to watch this.
I mean, that's the same thing with UGC. Like, you're just watching a content creator that you like, and you don't realize till towards the end, like, the entire video, even though they got paid to be themselves, do their normal type of content, it's all under the guise of buy this product. And same thing with, like, I remember YouTube went through a phase of that where, like, when filmmakers and like content creators like back in the day in like I don't know 2014 something like that 2014 2015 those types of YouTube filmmakers were getting big, and then I started realizing like every video is sponsored by somebody, whether it's like, oh, this video is sponsored by Adobe I use,
Yeah.
and it's like a 2-minute sponsored segment. And that kind of annoyed me because it was like, all right, I'm watching on YouTube where there's already ads. This person's making money from the ads, and now their video is partially an ad. And I've always just been so like reluctant with ads. Like I feel like it's gross to me when someone's advertising to me when I didn't like ask for it.
It's kind of weird because I feel like on YouTube when I see like an ad segment, I'm like, all right, get your bag. Like, you know, you got to make money somehow.
Yeah, I
get
can
your
skip.
sponsorship. Yeah, I can skip through that.
Skip.
But on TikTok, it's kind of the same thing, but also not. Like I feel more hatred towards it on TikTok than I do on YouTube.
I agree.
Yeah,
with
I
that.
don't care as much on YouTube
Yeah.
anymore, unless it's that same thing where it's like the whole basis of the video. You start to realize like, oh, this video like wouldn't have been made if it weren't for the purpose
Yeah.
of showcasing this product that like you can tell they don't really care about, but they're like, oh yeah, this is something that I might use, so
Yeah.
I'm going to use
Yeah.
it for this 10-minute video, and you're going to buy it, and I'm going to make money off of it.
Especially if you see like a smaller creator and you start watching them when they have like lower amounts of views, and then you see that one video where they have their first sponsor, and you're like, okay, like
Yeah,
you
good
did
for
it, you
them.
you got sponsors on your. But then you look on TikTok and you see that, and you're like, oh, you sell out, you corporate shill. Why would you do that? I don't know. That's kind of a weird thing in my mind
Mhm.
that it's also kind of hypocritical. Today we're just learning that I'm a hypocrite with content.
Well,
But
okay, so I kind of want to circle back to what I had first started talking about. Do you guys think that like high quality and highly produced videos will ever have a place on social media? Like I occasionally will see an ad that looks like TV quality on Instagram, but like way less often than some iPhone
Yeah.
footage by a content creator.
I
Like, do
think-
you think that that market or that demand will increase at some point, or like where do you think the internet's preference of style of media is going?
I think what's weird about it is like when we were talking about cable TV, you have no option. You're watching that ad regardless.
Mhm.
And whereas like YouTube, you can skip it. TikTok, you can skip it. So it's like if it's a well-produced commercial, I'm going to notice that it's well-produced if I'm watching cable TV. Whereas like on YouTube, I'm seeing 2 seconds of it and then I'm clicking that skip button.
I have to be honest though, there have been a few times where in the first 2 seconds I just see how nice an ad looks and I'll watch the whole thing just because it looks nice and it's like something different. Or
Yeah.
if it's like about something I'm somewhat interested in, like I'm never gonna buy the product or like endorse that brand
Yeah.
or like be more attracted to that brand. But like I don't know, I've seen commercials where the beginning of it is like some big dramatic shot of like a mountain biker at like a sunset and like looks super nice, like a really cool drone shot. I'd be like, oh, like this is pleasing to watch. Like
Yeah.
even though it's an ad, like it's cinematic, it's produced, it's like the type of content
Yeah.
I enjoy, even though I wasn't looking for it.
I feel
Um,
that.
But I think a majority of people is just like, oh, it's an ad, wait for the skip button to
Yeah.
show up and click it.
I never really thought about how like that's kind of going away now, like a well-produced cinematic commercial.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Even like on like streaming services like Netflix or Hulu, if you have
True.
versions with ads, typically on those streamers you would have more TV style ads, but I'm noticing more and more like I'll even see vertical video ads on Hulu or something where
Yeah.
it's like someone on
I
iPhone,
don't
same
like
thing,
that.
like
I don't
TikTok
like
style.
that.
Yeah, and like I don't know. I feel like in general I'm kind of a pessimist, but like I feel like high quality video is just like not going to be needed in the future. I don't know. I don't want to believe that, but
Yeah, unfortunately, I kind of also believe that. I think that, like, well, I think so. I think that things will be high quality in terms of like the way it looks, but I think it'll be less high quality in terms of like there'll be less quality in terms of like being how it's produced, like with the actors and like like how it's made, rather than like because like cameras are only getting better. I mean, technology is only getting better, but I feel like with people like trying to make it seem like they're everyday people is going to get worse, like with the user generated content and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Unfortunately, I mean, like Joel said, like I've even watched commercials that just look nice or that are well produced and are very engaging and stuff. But like, I feel like we're not heading that direction anymore. I feel like we're heading more towards, the people like Brian was saying who just are like using a product that they never would use normally, but they're getting paid for, and it's just stuff like that. But.
yeah, and I guess I should probably clarify like I guess I guess I'm mostly talking about commercial video, because obviously, like, I don't need to say movies that appear in theaters are never going to be shot on an iPhone. You know, like there are some
they
like
might.
documentaries and stuff like that. But yeah, but like Hollywood, as long as it lives, there will be money behind movies.
Yeah, yeah.
And same thing with like music videos and like documentaries and like art films, things that are meant to be artistic. I think those are here to stay. And as you said, camera technology is getting better. People still enjoy watching cinematic things, but I guess what I'm talking about is like I used to enjoy even like commercials or ads or like brand story videos, like things that weren't necessarily designed to be, or where their sole purpose isn't to be artistic. Those being artistic was really pleasing to me. And so like I still really like videos that we make, like some brand story videos we made are some
Yeah.
of my favorite videos, because
Yeah.
like, yes, it's to promote this brand, but it's telling a story and it's well produced and looks really nice and it's a very like pleasing video. So I feel like that kind of like artistic commercial video is on the decline, unfortunately, because that's kind of, I say unfortunately because for most people in our position, that's how we make money, is working for businesses that need to promote their own business but want to do it in a professional, high quality way.
I think those kind of videos are best suited like on a website, on Amazon, like something like that. Whereas like if you're seeing it as a commercial, it obviously it's gonna look good, but like if I go to a company's website and I see a brand story video like that, I'm like, oh, okay, like this is legit. Like this
Yeah.
company is, they
I
know
hope
what they're
people
doing.
still think that in
Yeah.
the future. I hope like
Yeah.
the younger generation isn't like, oh, there isn't a TikTok on their homepage. Or
Yeah.
like, why would I ever go to their website when they have a TikTok account?
That's true.
Well, I think that like websites will only get better. I don't think they're going away at all. And I think
Yeah.
with like the videos and photos on websites is still very important. I mean, especially like when I've gone to restaurants before, if I go on that website and I look at their menu and they have some pictures of their like some pictures of their menu items, like I'm actually like more inclined to go to that restaurant because I like seeing, not just reading about what's in it, but like seeing it visually as like pictures.
Absolutely.
And like even like videos of like the experience of going to a restaurant or going to a bar, and like they have those videos of like, you know, like either a tour of the space or like an event that happened there or something. I love those kind of videos, and I feel like that content will always be around. And like Brian was saying, with brand story videos and like headshots of people on their websites are also very important. I think will only like help. I think that, you know, social media nowadays is helping that, because like you can promote the website, you can promote like really quick things about that company, but then that will bring you to the website. But I think having that bigger website with the bigger, longer brand story videos will always like be around, and will always be like highly produced and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think they're like completely going away. I guess what I'm thinking is I feel like I've been noticing, especially small businesses won't take the risk of like saving up some money and like spending it on redoing their website or producing a brand story video or getting professional photography of like for this example, a restaurant getting professional photography of all their menu items, or like some sort of like candid photos of the people working there. They would much rather spend $200 a month on somebody to make content for them on Instagram or TikTok, or pay to promote ads on Instagram. Like I'll go to so many restaurants' websites, and the entire it will be like a basically empty Squarespace template where it's just their logo and then a menu
Yeah.
of just like 4 lines of text saying like menu, about, contact, reservations, and you click on one of those and it's just a PNG of their menu or a PNG of
Yeah.
their like it's just the simplest websites. And then I go to their social media and they post 3 times a day
Yeah.
and like have tons of followers and everything. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I think I'm just like worried about the direction it's going in terms of things that I enjoy and things that keep businesses like us going. I'm not like worried about our business. Obviously, we have some great clients and are getting more and more clients that need professional video. I'm just kind of speculating about the future, like 5-10 years down the road.
Yeah, and I think that it will only grow into hopefully something that's, you know, not as chaotic and is more like, you know, planned out and thought out. And I feel like a lot of the videos we even do now are more creative, like whether they're shot on a phone or if they're like, you know, UGC and stuff like that. I feel like we still put a lot of like production and pre-production into these videos that, you know, make them high quality, but, you know, but also look, you know, like lower quality, like somebody's like filming it themselves, when in reality we do put a lot of production behind it and stuff like that. And I feel like stuff like that will only become more popular and also help these brands like down the road.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the one part of like quality video that has been sticking around, and I would even argue has been getting better, is music videos.
Yeah.
There's
I definitely agree. Music videos are such a, like, the music industry has just changed so much that, like, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. For me, like, music videos are the entire reason that I got into using cameras.
Me,
is that
myself.
I was super into music growing up, and I wanted to be a musician for the longest time, and I, like, still do, but just realized that that's a pipe dream, and making videos is a lot more realistic. And so, yeah, I've always loved music videos, and I love making music videos, but musicians don't have money unless they're viral now. And it used to be you didn't have money unless you got signed by a label, and then that label would pay for you to make videos. And that's sometimes true now, but record labels aren't what they used to be. A lot of times they'll sign you and then just won't give you any money, and like you'll still take that deal because they'll like promote your music here and there. But yes, the few musicians that make it and make enough money of their own, usually through social media, will have budgets to make music videos. And because music videos are purely artistic, I feel like people are constantly trying to push the envelope and do something that hasn't been done before. And especially recently, I've seen so many like AI-driven music videos. And,
I don't really click with that.
Yeah, me neither. I've only seen like 2 that I actually liked where they did something new. Most of the time, it's just like all these crazy effects that don't look real and don't even like CG doesn't look real, but like doesn't even look like it was made by a human, and that disconnects with me. That's a whole other topic. We could save AI for another episode.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of like the younger underground, I see it as especially like underground hip hop people, like they're putting a lot of attention and detail into their videos, and it's actually paying off like quite well for them. I know of many new artists just because I've seen their music video and it looks interesting, even if it's not like the highest quality or like cinematic, like it's got like interesting things that are happening or interesting camera movements with
it's creative.
It's creative, and that it makes me more interested in checking out their catalog and like what they're gonna do next. So I think that I've seen a lot of that.
Well, so this is a little bit of a different direction, but I've actually found a lot of music lately on TikTok and Instagram Reels because like some of these smaller like creators or like musicians will like just slowly introduce their songs like just on the platforms, and like they won't even have music videos, they'll just have their music, and then all it takes is a few people to use their sound or their song like on one of their videos, and that kind of blows up. So that also helps a lot of these musicians because like they don't have a label, but they have millions of people listening to them now through Instagram and TikTok, which is kind of crazy because, you know, before it was a lot harder to, you know, have people, you know, listen and figure out who you are, but like, you know, it helps with music videos. But nowadays, like if you go on TikTok or Instagram, like I find new music like every day almost. Like I'll be scrolling and I find like, I'm like, oh, who made this? And you go to the sound and you realize, oh, it's actually like a, you know, kind of an underground person that doesn't have a lot of likes or like followers, but they have like really good music. And they did that literally just through TikTok, and I think that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I wish I had that experience, but I almost exclusively listen to metal and punk, and like I don't find anything on social media that's like
really.
I don't think I've ever discovered. I really don't think I've ever discovered a new artist through social media besides YouTube.
Oh, I have.
I've found tons.
Like probably at this point, I think it's at least over 10 that I've like new artists that I found just through TikTok alone.
Even like, I don't know if it's like TikTok music videos, but like they'll do like small things that are visually interesting.
They look cinematic. And nice, but if it's a cinematic sound or if it's like, you know, an upbeat, funny sound, you know, there's a portion of a music video or just like a skit, and it's like, oh, that was cool. Also, this sounds really good. Who is this? You know, so
yeah,
that is an interesting grab.
But
yeah, that's again, I think a whole other topic of like how to be a successful musician today is crazy.
It's kind of hard
I'm
unless
a
you
musician
get lucky.
myself, and I am so reluctant to dive into TikTok, but I know that like if I want anyone to hear our music, I have to make a TikTok.
Well, and that's and for our clients. So, you know, circling back to like us as a business, like when we've made and produced a lot of music videos, you know, over the past like 4 years that we've been around, and
I'm shooting TikToks for musicians tomorrow.
And honestly, and like we like now in 2023, if we're making a music video for someone, I would almost say 100% of the time they want marketing material that will go on TikTok and Instagram, which makes sense because that will be the fastest and easiest way for people to see and listen to their new songs.
Yeah, and it definitely makes sense from their point of view. Like, I'm not going to name the artist, but I think you guys know who I'm talking about. But the person I'm shooting with tomorrow and the person I worked with a month or two ago. Originally, we were talking about doing a music video, but he had a limited budget because he's a independent artist, unsigned, only been doing it for like a few years, and kind of, I would say, relatively DIY. So he doesn't have a huge budget. So as we were talking about the project and what we're going to be able to do, with the budget he had, it was like, all right, we can make a pretty simple music video, or we can make like 8 visualizers that are 15 to 30 seconds long and going to be vertical for social media. And while that's a little bit less creatively enticing for me, because I grew up loving music videos, and I like creating a visual that tells a story parallel with the song from beginning to end. As much as I wasn't as into that, it makes so much sense for them, where it's like, all right, now I have 8 pieces of content that I can even use multiple times on the same platform, that are all different, and I can spread these out rather than for 2 weeks leading up to the song release posting videos saying, hey, my new music video is coming out in 2 weeks, make sure you go check it out. And if someone doesn't check it out on the day that it's out, it doesn't really make a difference.
Here's my Gen Z take. We need a little Gen Z take graphic. I think 90% of people who try to advertise on TikTok don't know how to use TikTok, or they don't know how to market it well.
That was a good point.
Because you'll scroll on TikTok and see stuff like that with like 3 views, and it's not even like that it's a bad quality. It's just that they're not like, that's not the type of content that millions of people are watching. And then you'll see like moon pies will post a picture of a cat and be like, eat moon pies, and it'll have like 3 million views.
Yeah, and that's really interesting because, and you're right, because I mean, I'm not a Gen Zer, I'm a millennial. But
you need the graphics.
But even like, but I completely agree with you, because I'll see like a sound that or a song that should be really, or that should blow up and do really well, but because of how they made the video, they're not curating it towards, you know, this generation in general, or like this time period of like, you know, content. And like Brian was saying, there are so many like bigger companies that have just nailed it right on the head, because they've done the research, and they're really meticulous about who they market to, and they've done an amazing job. And I feel like people who post on TikTok, they think if they just post their song with like something cool, like, you know, it'll blow up, but it's a lot more involved than that. And there's a lot of research involved actually to figure out like what people nowadays are like, you know, what they're engaged in, like what entertains them basically.
Yeah. That's the whole like YouTube algorithm thing. Like you gotta make your video this long and have this thumbnail and stuff. But TikTok is just kind of like, if you aren't doing it, TikTok's gonna be like, nope, we're not gonna show it.
Well, also, yeah, and like, I mean, not to name too many names with like, you know, brands, but like Scrub Daddy on TikTok is like one of the biggest, like, is like one of the best examples of this. Like,
I don't know who that is.
It's like a sponge, dish sponge.
Okay.
They were on Shark Tank.
Yeah,
Okay.
and like normally like, I would barely ever heard of them, and like I never use their sponges. I just use Wegman sponges. But like after seeing their content, like I almost am enticed to just buy their sponges because of how funny and ridiculous their videos are. It's hilarious, and like, but they do. It's not just like funny, stupid. It's funny that like they're doing it in a way where like you almost feel like it's so funny that you're like, wow, actually, like I kind of want to buy this product now because they show it working well. Like they'll compare it to like other like dirty sponges, like how well their sponges, but in such a funny, creative way. And like they'll respond to people's comments like in really funny ways too, and like they're just so engaging with their audiences that like I feel like they just makes them like so much more successful.
Yeah, I think even and there's like a whole beginning of that with like the Wendy's Twitter and stuff. That's how where
Wendy's
really,
again, social media
really
is
where it
crazy.
started. But I feel like now that's kind of like big companies have like almost writers' rooms worth of people for their marketing.
They hire people specifically for that, and you can tell
younger
too.
People,
yes, yep,
they get it.
Yeah, 100%.
Because we know how to attack the kids.
How to sell to yourself.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's our take on the state of content creation today. We got a Gen Z take and a millennial take over here.
The graphics studio.
Yeah, we need the graphics.
That's your job, Brian. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been the Hill and Valley Podcast, and we'll be back soon with some other topics to talk about. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and share with someone else who might enjoy it as well. Thank you.